Welcome back, everybody, to Game 2 of Week 4 NECC. We saw Saints go up 1-0 in the last game. Bit of a nail-biter, though, I'm going to be honest. It was
I don't know if it was a nail-biter or just like an action-packed craziness.
Pretty close until we had like a little bit of technical difficulties. We got back into the game, and it was just all action from there. Yeah. But definitely, for those first like 15 minutes of the game, regardless of how ahead Fresh was in the jungle, I definitely think the teams were pretty even.
Yeah, I think so too. I think, yes, St. Clair did have, I think it was like 2 or 3K gold lead, but it didn't really show it. I feel like a lot of those fights weren't as lopsided as I thought they were going to be with the gold lead St. Clair had. And I think a lot of it came from the fact that, yes, Fresh was ahead significantly in the jungle, but Senna Seraphine is so hard to kill in the bot lane because of the shielding and healing. So he'd go in, he'd ult, he'd get a lot of damage down, but then Seraphine or Senna would come by their partner, shield them up, heal them up, and then he was kind of like, okay, well, I guess I'm leaving, and just ran away. So
you're just not able to close it out at that point.
I mean, after those technical difficulties, we didn't really get to see how the Baron happened, how the team fight happened, but St. Clair able to get a couple kills onto Barlow, and that really made the difference. You saw the fact that he was able to start taking down turrets at quite a rapid pace, and I felt like every fight after that was pretty St. Clair favorite. They had that one fight, I think, where they ended up going 1 for 4, but other than that, every other fight after that was all St. Clair.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that came down to Ricky just being like the front line, right?
Yeah,
he was soaking up all the CC, soaking up a big chunk of the damage as well, and still making it out alive in like most of the fights we saw after that 20-minute mark.
I definitely think Ricky the Scion top pick might not have been so good last time, but was definitely looking really good this one. And I mean, Danny Boy 8-3 and 4 at the end of the game was looking really good on the Gnar as well. Able to find that kill in the team fight onto Barlow was absolutely massive because that was the reason they ended up winning that team fight so well. And I think, looking forward, maybe Gnar is a pick again for Danny. It could be something that we could see them pick, and definitely going to be interesting to see if they go for it again here. I wonder if the bands of picks are going to be pretty similar. I think both teams looked very comfortable on those picks, so I wouldn't be too surprised to see them again.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see the picks again. I just want to see McMaster try to rethink their damage department, right?
Yeah.
I want to see consistent damage. I want to see, at this point, I want to see an ADC, right?
Yeah, I think so too.
I want to see an ADC, maybe a mid laner who can put out some consistent damage.
I
maybe
think
like a burn mage, like someone who's going to build Leandries or something like that, to just try and round out the damage over time.
I think for me, though, I think that Ahri being so ahead in that game to start it off really made it difficult for LeBlanc, because normally you want LeBlanc early game to be roaming in the side lanes, trying to find something, like you said, Snowball. It was really tough because not only did Ahri pick up that first kill, get the Doran's ring before the game even started, picking up the second kill plus getting the blue buff meant that the entire laning phase was basically just LeBlanc trying to farm up as much as she could, because Ahri can just cast spell after spell on the wave, keep pushing it forward and start roaming herself, and LeBlanc just forced to catch those waves in mid, couldn't do the roaming, and it really made a difference because you saw how much impact Zephrot was having in the early game, while the mid laner for McMaster couldn't really have that agency around the map.
Yeah, you're forced under tower. You can't have any of that map pressure that Zephrot was able to have to help set behind Shah Azi as much as he was. We saw almost double CS on Fresh at 12 minutes, I think it was. And a couple bans coming out. First two, same as last game, but the Ahri ban is going to come out for McMaster Maroon, which I think is definitely very well placed there.
Yeah, I like that for them. I think the Ahri definitely was. Once you got ahead, there wasn't really any stopping Zephrot on that champion, so I think really good job for McMaster to pick out that weakness, see it, maybe force St. Clair onto something that might not be as comfortable with in the mid lane. We've seen how good Zephrot has been in the last couple of weeks on that choice, so I think for him being forced onto something else is going to be really key here to try and get a lead in the mid lane.
Yeah, for sure. I'm interesting to see if the bans are shaken up a bit, right? Because it seemed like last game, a lot of the first couple bans were targeted, but once again, we're seeing these Hecarim, Graves bans. I don't know if these are targeted towards max players, but it seems like it's a lot of just meta bans that are coming out. And another one, like the Corki ban we saw at the end there, it's one of those ones that a lot of times we see teams throw in the Corki ban because they're just we don't want to play against Corki, right? And I don't.
They don't want to have to deal with the package.
Yeah, exactly. It really is such a teamfight disruptor, but I think the Corki ban can be put into something else.
Yeah, I think so too. I think if you Yasuo is going to be the third ban here for Master again. not wanting to deal with the potential of that in the mid lane or the top lane. We've seen both of those roles for St. Clair go for it throughout the last couple of weeks. So taking that option away, and the final ban coming through here for St. Clair sometime soon. I'm thinking, I was going to say it has to be the Zeri because they are on blue side, or they're on red side, right?
Yeah, red side. Blue side gets first pick. Yeah.
So it will be the Zeri banned away, and pretty much the same thing that we saw last time. We are going to see the Senna again. So looks like McMaster trying to index towards that. I think they did like their bot lane. I think their bot lane actually looked pretty good in that first game. I think, again, like you said, jungle was really the difference maker in that one.
Yeah, I think it also really did come down to that initial first blood that Sephiroth grabbed, right? It gave that Doran's ring to him, which is going to help. He's going to give him extra health in lane, more trading power, a lot of mana sustain, but then he also grabs the blue buff at level 2. It was just, and after that point, it just snowballed from there. But the bot lane definitely holding their own in the bot lane. I mean, we saw those fights, how it would go. It could have went either way every single time until a third party came in.
Yeah, and we are going to see the Jinx Karma again, so St. Clair are going to stick with what they had, and Senna Seraphine coming out here. So same bot lanes as last game, and I think for me, both bot lanes were successful in what they wanted to do, right? Like, I think St. Clair ended up winning it out, but I don't think it was the bot lane 2v2 that was winning out. I think it was just the fact that Fresh got so ahead in the jungle. Sephiroth had so much map presence around mid lane, and that really was a difference maker. We are going to get the Rise pick here out of McMaster, so swapping it up there for LeBlanc, trying something a little bit different. And I think this opens up St. Clair to pick the Jarvan for themselves.
Yeah, and that is going to be the Jarvan pick that comes out. One thing, though, the Rise, that is a nice switch that we like to see, right? As I was talking about, they kind of need that consistent damage going into late game, and Rise is going to fill that spot perfectly, especially if you're sticking with this bot lane that is more of a poke-oriented, right? Rise is going to definitely help with that AoE damage, that consistent damage. He's going to get those flux and then his Q resets. Constantly going to be getting that in the late game, and it is going to give them a lot more damage in these later teams.
We are going to get Gnar and Jax bans, so some top lane bans coming through here. I like the fact that they go for this Gnar ban. I think Danny has looked really, really good on that champion, and I definitely think they are going to have a good choice banning that way, but bans coming through here very quick. Second phase, it is going to be Kayn and Sion for the last rotation, so both top laners from last game being banned out means they will see some fresh faces there in the top lane.
Orianna going to be coming out most likely for the mid lane here. And that is one that we haven't seen too often from Sephiroth.
I think we haven't seen him on too many control mages. This is going to be Renekton coming through here for McMaster. And I think blind pick Renekton is very interesting because it has its advantages, but I feel like the fact that he has so much power index in the early game means that you are heavily relying on this Rise Senna in the later game to do something. But Darius coming through for St. Clair here, as well as the Viego for McMaster. So now we see the team comps rounded out. I see the advantages of both these. I really like these team comps, actually. I think there's a lot of diversity and a lot of interesting changes you can make along the way of these games to try and adjust to the other team's team comp.
Yeah, they kind of had me worried we were going to see the exact same team comps from last game once again with those first two picks. But it is pretty smart, right? Get your bot lane picks set up because we know how strong bot lane is. But it is nice to see a little bit of a switch up, right? We're going to see the Jarvan onto St. Clair. Lots of combo potential here. Jarvan ult, Orianna ult. And then you can just toss your Jinx AoE damage with the rockets in there. It's definitely going to help them out a lot. And I think they're going to be getting some... They definitely can out-damage the Senna heal and the Seraphine heal with this team comp right here.
And I like the fact that both top laners are taking these early game power, super powerful early game champions where you're just like, okay, if you can win an early game with one of these, you can snowball the game really, really hard. And the key is for me in this game, if Rick can get ahead on this Darius, you're not really going to have an answer for him because Viego, Rise, Senna, Seraphine, you all need at least an item or two before you really get strong. Darius, if he gets ahead early, he doesn't even need items. He can pick up one item and he's going to be absolutely insane in a side lane. So I think definitely going to have something to watch out for. And tried and true Orianna Jarvan combo. We've seen this since the champions came out, how strong this combo can be. So I think it gives them a lot of really good options for engage, because last game, like I said, we didn't really have a lot of solid engage for them. This game, the fact that you have the Jarvan Orianna, you have the speed up from Karma, if you can find the Senna Seraphine in the backline, you can effectively just delete them with this Janna, or not the Janna, the Jarvan and Orianna.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, look, going back to the Darius too, it's one of those champions, like, if you're playing well enough, which we have seen Ricky play like this before, you can 1v2 a gank with a Doran's shield. Like, if that's how strong the passive stacks are and the bleed stacks coming out from Darius, as well as the healing from his Q there. So definitely a strong side lane pick as well. He's going to be very strong solo. So I think that we're not going to need to see too much attention from Fresh going into the top lane.
Yeah, so we are going to get a little bit of time here before we get into game. Some potential server issues, some lag going on for a lot of these players. So in the meanwhile, we can talk about how we feel so far about their performance in the series. I think St. Clair in that first game, it all started off with Zephrog getting ahead early on the Ari, right? You saw how strong that was, but we are getting the all good signal now, so we will be getting into game here very, very soon, and hopefully St. Clair can pull off this 2-0. Last time they versed in, I think it was first semester early on, they ended up winning the series out 2-1, so we'll see if they can win this one out in a sweep 2-0, or if McMaster can find an answer and force us into a game number 3.
Yeah, once again, we're seeing an invade here come out from St. Clair, but it was actually Trapper this time who is going to spot them out in the mid lane and actually just able to warn his teammate to kind of just back off there. Swift Slug, he's going to be safe. A little bit of damage there from Zephrol. We're going to see the emote come out. They're just having a little fun before minions spawn here. But yeah, definitely big play that Trapper was able to spot out the invade before them actually going in, because Swift Slug was pretty far up.
Yeah, I think it was really key, and we saw what happened last time. You let St. Clair get ahead before the 2-minute mark in the mid lane, and definitely think you don't want to have to face that again. But overall, looking at the items, both top laners opting into the Doran's Blade here, so expecting some aggressive takes here. Jarvan starting on the top path, and it looks like the Viego will be starting on the bot half here. Pretty standard pathing. I definitely think the Viego, once you realize that Jarvan started on the top half here, will be indexing towards the top half clear. Maybe even look for an early gank in bot. I definitely think this is smart, because if Jarvan can get ahead, if Jarvan can give these camps really fast, an early gank on Renekton getting Darius ahead would be absolutely huge for St. Clair.
Yeah, and we saw a little bit of damage come out there, a little bit of a bush cheese coming out there from bot lane. Not too much going to go off of it, but Fresh getting in there, no vision on the blue side from McMaster, and he's able to grab the blue and the Gromp and head towards top lane before Viego can even get towards his topside jungle.
Smart ward, though.
Yeah, for sure. And Danny Boy, he spotted out Fresh here. He is going to be able to play safe there. Meanwhile, Viego, Shah Azi, he might be able to meet Fresh in the jungle here. He's going to try once again to go grab these Raptors, but
that's going to be key,
like Fresh is just blind there.
This jungle interaction is going to be key, right? Because if they see each other, it's going to be a tough challenge. Both of them just waiting. Jarvan will spot out Shah Azi here, but Shah Azi will be able to get most of those Raptors. Just going to leave one for Jarvan, and it means he will actually be ahead now, because he will have the camp available while Jarvan only has that one little Raptor farm. So Viego with now a very, very slight lead in timing, but it isn't really going to mean too much.
Yeah, he is down a blue buff, which, while not very important on Viego, it's another CS. It's some gold that you're missing out on from that early invade. Meanwhile, Fresh still has his entire bot side to fight.
It is going to be nothing too crazy happening in the early game. We saw a lot of action last time, but I think both of these teams kind of just doing a handshake. Another pause coming through here, and apparently servers not serving everyone too well right now, unfortunately. So we will be seeing if we can see some stuff. But anyway, we can talk about this early game. Interesting pathing from both junglers there. We saw Jarvan starting on the top lane blue buff there, and I mean, it ended up not interacting. I definitely thought there might be a fight going down, but I think Viego, you have to respect the Jarvan early game damage, especially if he hits that EQ combo. It is so strong, and as Viego, you don't really have a lot of power until you start getting up towards at least a half an item.
Yeah, for sure. You got to get some kind of lifesteal, some kind of attack speed in there, unless you're going to opt for the Divine Sunderer, which actually wouldn't be too bad against
Yeah.
this team comp, right? You've got the Jarvan who, while he can still opt for the lethality, is still going to be relatively tanky if he decides to go for Gore Drinker into like something like a Death Stance, and then against the Darius as well. That's going to help you out a lot. But yeah, very interesting play, right? Because we saw the junglers, they met each other, but both of them just opted to just back off. Fresh, I think he was content with just taking the blue buff and being
Yeah.
like, all right, you can have my Raptors. I've got a bot side to farm, right? I'm just gonna head over there. My mid lane now knows where you are, right? They've it gives both teams a lot of intel. So I think it
Yeah.
just is what it is.
I think it was a smart ward too by Renekton there.
Yeah.
The top lane kind of negated what they wanted to do. The fact they started blue, Darius not going to start on the wave, had to actually help out the Jarvan with the first Binion there, first buff, and then Jarvan in essence went to top lane, looked for a gank to try and get him ahead, and didn't really find a good ward placement. And early game, not too much action happening now, but thinking about the long term, how these teams want to play it out, what do you think each team's game plan is going forward in the first, like, say, 10-15 minutes?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Shah Azi move towards the top side a bit, because we saw Ricky pretty pushed up there right before the pause. He was looking to crash that wave, but Shah Azi was topside river, right? He is there. We didn't see any vision from Ricky at all. I think the gank is definitely prime and could be taken there, but from as well as Fresh, though, we're probably just going to see him path towards bot side, try and get this bot side ahead, because they do still have the Jinx that they're trying to feed into, right? But it might be a hard gank onto this bot lane. I mean, we saw just how much sustain, just how much safety they had from the Seraphine Senna last game, so I'm interested to see how it plays out.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think both these teams want to go towards that top lane because both these champions super hard winning early game, fall off quite a bit towards the latter half of the game. So that's where they're going to get that power. If one of these teams can get their top laner ahead, it's going to mean so much to get you towards that later game when, the Senna is going to be scaling, the Jinx is going to be scaling, the Ryze is going to be scaling. I mean, it's definitely going to be interesting to see which of these teams sacrifices more to get their top laner ahead, or if they're okay with saying, okay, both these champions super strong in the early game, they're pretty much going to be even throughout most of it, so can we just let them do whatever and let the rest of our team scale up? Because I think for me, the better later game team is going to be McMaster with the Ryze and with the Senna scaling. Like, it is going to be really tough for St. Clair to match that kind of range.
Yeah, the only thing they have to match is Barlow on the late game there. But we are going back in, and Fresh going for that gank in the bot lane, just like we were talking about. The pause is gonna come out, but once again, we see the healing from the Senna Seraphine. They're not even threatened by it. They're just not threatened by it. They're gonna opt to just sit under their tower, scale up. Top lane here, we are seeing not too much happening. Both top laners actually opting for a cull, which is pretty interesting.
Yeah,
not
definitely.
Something you see on... I've seen it on Renekton before, not something I see Ricky pull out on the Darius too often.
I think they both realize that it's not going to be a kill lane for either of them.
Yeah.
And especially, I think it's good for the Darius because he is going to have, you can see here in the farm and with the push, the early advantage that he has on this Ricky on Danny Boy right now. So I think definitely a good choice for him. And we see in the bot lane, despite the fact that they didn't find any kills, it was 2 flashes burned for this bot lane. So now it opens up the possibility of, even Fresh coming through, but possibly Zephyros as well, looking for a gank bot early and trying to find a double kill on them because they don't have the flash available.
Yeah, he does get that level 6 priority. If he can get a gank off and push this in before Trapper is able to hit level 6, then I definitely think it can help get this bot lane ahead, right? Because Trapper now hitting level 6, so he is going to be able to match that gank with his ultimate if Zephyros does opt to go for it. Meanwhile, a little bit of a failed gank there in the bot lane from Shah Azi. Going to push back Barlow and Fresh, kind of reset the wave, going to be pushing towards them, actually.
Yeah, so Will actually force this push towards St. Clair. This is not good because have this Jarvan threatening. Oh, nice root gonna land actually. Stun gonna come through as well. Zephyros has a flash available, but isn't gonna be using it. First blood going over to Shah Azi. A good gank there in the mid lane. And yeah, first blood now in the hands of the McMaster team.
Yeah, gold is gonna be just about even there after the first blood. We are seeing a little bit more CS on Fresh here, and I think that's going to come down to the fact that there were not enough camps for Viego to farm at the starting, but he is going to offset that with the first blood. Perfect combo there too. Just get the point and click root from the Rise, and then you're able to combo that up with the stun. Sephiroth was stuck there at just about a quarter health right after that initial burst, and there isn't too much you can do. So I am glad to see him not burn any flash or ignite there, just to try and save himself when you
posturing around this dragon. Though this could turn into a fight because there is a couple levels. Oh, a nice EQ on a Swift Slug there by Fresh. He's gonna find out the Senna, forced to use that heal to get out. Root gonna come through as well. It won't be able to catch him up, but that does mean most likely a free dragon for St. Clair.
Yeah, Dragon is going to continue. Shah Az going in, but Fresh going to win the smite battle. Shah Az forced to burn flash to get back out, and that is not good. He's going to be set even farther behind from that.
Yeah, I mean, it is just a flash. It isn't anything too crazy. They did end up finding the dragon there, but it did mean that Rise able to shove in that wave a little bit, get some of that farm back, and definitely pretty quiet here in the top lane. Oh, never mind. Rise got ult up here. Ricky trying to find Danny Boy. Will get the stacks up here. Will be able to get the hook through as well. Ult going to come through, but it doesn't matter. Danny Boy going to pop the ult himself, and that is going to be another kill over for McMaster.
Yeah, and see, that is the Rise ultimate effect there, right? He is not going to be able to match Sephiroth, not going to be able to match the roam from the Rise, as he is just able to run up halfway up river, get the ult there. They are going to find the kill. And the Rise root actually coming surprisingly in handy in this early game for these early kills, and that is going to be a 2-0 lead for McMaster going into this. I think we're at like the 5-6 minute mark.
That's what I talked about, right? Like right now, because TP isn't available to be used unless you're going to U-turret, these global ultimates are so powerful. You saw the Rise, the fact that he picked up ultimate there, walked halfway up the river, ult up in the top lane, and there's nothing Ricky can do about it, and you can't match it with anything from Sephiroth. So it's really tough because you don't have that global ult to match any kind of plays that they want to do. And now McMaster with a 2-kill lead early is absolutely huge, and the fact that you got to kill onto the Renekton is even bigger.
Yeah, you also can't really, like, you're not ready for the Rise ult unless you're just backing off every single time Rise goes out of vision, right? Yeah. Because you don't want to just be forcing yourself to do that, but at the same time, it leaves you susceptible to, like, a perfect roam like that, like we saw from the Rise there.
Yeah, and I mean, for St. Clair, it isn't too big. Yes, it is 2 kills over to the side of McMaster, but, you know, you aren't losing turret plates, you aren't losing anything too crazy just yet, so it isn't absolutely horrible. We will be going back in the game here, and yeah, no kills coming through just yet. So unfortunately, looks like we are getting some spectator issues here. Not a stranger to these in League. We have had quite a couple issues with them so far, but we can look on the scoreboard. No farm change, still pretty even across the board. Yeah, I think Ricky, it was just 20 seconds or so. There we go. We'll be getting back into it. So hopefully spectator client works with us some more, but we'll find out as we go on with the game. But regardless, still a small lead here, 1,000 for McMaster.
Yeah, League loves to play with our hearts here on the broadcast, I'm going to be honest.
Every time.
It loves to just send us back into game at the most intense parts as well, I've noticed.
But yeah, 2-0 lead in kill department, about a 1k difference in gold here. Dragon did go over to St. Clair, so they did get that early objective. Next one is going to be Infernal, which means it's going to be pretty good Drake selection, except for the Cloud Drake. But if you can find the Hex Tech or the Ocean, it's going to be very, very strong. So I'm expecting teams to look towards that Dragon and see if they can find an advantage here in about 3.5 minutes or so.
Yeah, Hextech would definitely be pretty strong for both teams here as well. Little weaker on McMaster, I'd say, but getting the attack speed and the ability haste for St. Clair would be big here, right? You've got 2 AD champs up towards the top lane, as well as Sephiroth. Don't count out the Orianna passive damage, right? She does get magic damage on her auto attack, so getting a little bit of extra attack speed is always helpful.
Yeah, it will be St. Clair taking this Rift Herald. So they will have that advantage here, most likely. We'll be using it towards plates. And both objectives going St. Clair's way, despite the gold lead right now that McMaster has. And I think that is the power of the Jarvan early game, right? The fact that you can EQ over walls. Fresh, maybe looking for a gank here. Mid lane, ult is going to land on a Trapper there. Fresh looking to EQ, Flash going to come through. Oh, he's going to flash it himself, and that's going to be Fresh. Finding Trapper there. A nice little tech on that Jarvan means Trapper going down. He will claim the kill, and it will be the Herald down to mid as well.
Yeah, that is going to bring the gold back here. Should be in St. Clair's favor now after these plates come out. Meanwhile, Shah Aziz looking for something on Sephiroth, but he's caught out here as Fresh rotates back in. He thought he was clear. Shah Aziz thought he was clear, but Fresh is going to rotate back. Meanwhile, Swift Slug also running up there. He is going to toss the ult towards Shah Aziz. But it is going to allow for Barlow and FaZe to push this in once again and get a nice little back off there for Barlow.
And that has pretty much negated the gold lead that McMaster had accrued, right? You saw just one kill and 2 turret plates means that now gold is even across the board. Jinx with a slight lead in bot, as well as Jarvan with a slight lead there in the jungle. You see in the top lane, that one kill going over to Renekton is pretty much a difference maker. But with Darius going Ninja Tabbies, or plated steel caps as they are now called, it means that a lot of that power that Renekton gets from that kill is kind of negated.
Yeah, for sure. And it's definitely gonna it's gonna stop the trading power, right? While we said this is gonna be like a no-kill lane here in the top lane, with both players kind of like acknowledging that by grabbing the cull, after that first kill, right, Danny Boy definitely could look for something. But the plated steel cap's definitely going to help negate that, like you said. Meanwhile, some deep vision here in the jungle, but Swift Slug is going to be on top of it. His sweeper is actually going to run out before he moves up. He can't grab that other ward there, but the control ward is going to come out near mid lane. One thing I have been noticing is like the vision battles are big in these games. Like,
yeah, I think
sure,
especially in the bot half, right? Because they're opting for he's in a Seraphine, you have to know where the jungler is. Ooh, big damage actually on a Swift Slug. Flash to be forced out here. Is going to be an EQ. Ult coming down on a Trapper. Trapper just burned the flash. Ignite going to come down. Tick, tick, tick. Will it get him? No, he's going to live from the pots.
Pot saving his life there.
Will be able to survive for the moment. Will be forced off of mid though, and that will mean Sephiroth collecting a plate here in just a second.
Yeah, Shah Z though, he's kind of stuck in between FaZe and Orianna here on and Sephiroth here, but that's a lot of damage onto Swift Slug. Gonna force them off the engage. Meanwhile, Fresh coming down. The root is gonna come out. Oh, just barely not able to make it out of range as well. Flash gonna come out for Fresh, but Barlow with the snipe ultimate, that is gonna grab him the first kill. Lots of CC coming out here from Trapper. He is going to do a good bit of damage onto FaZe, but FaZe is able to just walk out of there.
Yeah, almost a double kill. Senna barely surviving that ultimate. And that's twice that. It could have been 2 more kills for St. Clair. They live with under 50 HP. So St. Clair definitely weren't in the mood to lose this one. They do end up getting that all-important second dragon. Now we see it is going to be an Ocean Soul. So St. Clair have these 2 early drags, very important. And now Danny actually in a tough spot, right? Because Sephiroth is here just waiting, gonna see if the no, can't back. TP gonna come through though. Does mean Rise gonna be here. Does have Everfrost, so will mean Orianna forced out here. We'll take Blast Plant. Actually gonna pop the ult here to try and chase after Sephiroth. Danny Boy not gonna be in range though, so will be an ult wasted here for the side of McMaster.
That's very good for St. Clair. That is a lot of resources that was just burnt for McMaster for basically nothing, just to stop the pressure there, just to stop Danny Boy from getting tower dove. Meanwhile though, still gonna be forced to back, and Ricky is just gonna lay onto these plates, grab as much as he can. TP coming out from Danny Boy. He's gonna make it back to lane, not gonna miss too much, but we've got 4 players moving in here into McMaster's jungle. Shah Z, he is gonna be forced to use the shroud to move out of it.
St. Clair has to remember here that now Renekton has gotten a reset, has picked up the Gourd Drinker, so they can't stay in it very long. They just wanted the blue buff. So they took the blue buff, will be icing out of that jungle. And now St. Clair with a almost 2,000 gold lead actually here. So they have picked it up quite a bit from the early game. They're behind. Barlow not in a great spot. Stun might come through here. No. He's going to flash out, and that will be him saving his life, but will be flashless for the next 5 minutes.
Sephiroth is here if Trapper decides to do anything, but it is just going to be a ward placed. Both teams going to spot each other out. Not too much happening. Fight over the Scuttle Crab. Looking like it's going towards McMaster, but Trapper, he's running down Sephiroth here. The Blast Cone in?
No,
and that's the shockwave. Huge shockwave there, but it is not enough. Not too much damage, and this is going to be a fight going McMaster's way. Shah Az going to find Barlow. FaZe running for his life, and that is just the 4v3 that is not winnable there, especially when Zephyroth gets caught out like that.
Super smart play there from Trapper, though. Trapper saw that he wanted to get over to the other side of that Blast Knight, but timed it perfectly so that his auto went right before Orianna started channeling hers, and that meant that Blast Knight put Orianna right into his waiting arms, and the waiting arms of the rest of his team. Fresh gonna go. No, he's not gonna go for gank here. He's just trying to force. Never mind, I lied. He's gonna force the flash of the Trapper, but Shaz is gonna be here, which means he has to back off. Stun gonna come through. Ult maybe from Shaz is looking for the autos. Not gonna go for it though. Orianna is gonna show up. That will mean he will be backed off. But now flashless, both Trapper as well as Fresh.
Yeah, a little greedy there from Fresh. I don't think you needed to just straight up go for the flash, especially when you didn't really have any damage there to follow up with onto Trapper. I mean, Trapper is not. He's got the health coming out from the Everfrost as well, so he's definitely not squishy to say the least. Meanwhile, Fresh only having the Gore Drinker.
Yeah, it does have a slight advantage in that regard. Is down about 30 farm as well. Herald also for this Jarvan that they just took. So, St. Clair will get this mid turret. Still going to have Herald available. Will be able to force down. We'll see maybe if they try and burn it here. If they try and get tier 2 mid. No, it looks like they're going to save it. I wouldn't be surprised to see it used in top lane here. And for them to collapse on this Renekton underneath tower, right? Because he is in such a vulnerable position right now. And with Ricky already at the Hull Breaker, it means he can start splitting when this turret goes down. In bot lane, it's going to be very, very effective in snowballing him.
Yeah, speaking of bot lane, we're actually seeing all of McMaster's bot lane kind of moving towards this top side. Fresh pretty caught out here. Meanwhile, FaZe is going to make a perfect bait for Fresh there. Shaz going to fall to Fresh's combo there, and that is going to be the disengage. Trapper going to ult in, though. That is a lot of damage onto Zephyroth from the starting with Shockwave from Zephyroth. That is going to be rough for them. Ricky getting hit by the charm, and the Hull Breaker buff does not activate when your team is there. He is going to take a lot of damage. Barlow ult just going wide, but he is going to be able to get a lot of damage into that turret in the bot lane. Meanwhile, though, the Seraphine here keeping Trapper alive. Not too much going to come out of that, but that is a 1-4-0 for McMaster. Yeah, or Jinx, 1-for-1 actually.
Jinx will get bot turret as well as the Herald getting top turret. So yes, it is a kill over towards McMaster, but in the end, I think St. Clair actually netting more gold and will expand their lead all the way up to 2,000. So TP being used in mid lane here as well. Dragon up in 5 seconds. Looks like McMaster has to fight this. They do not want to go down to so point. With St. Clair a little bit slower on the reset, it means they will get here second. They can try and clear out this vision. St. Clair has to walk up into these wards, and I don't even think they can contest this on time. FaZe or Fresh going to walk through here. We'll be seeing this Dragon is not down quite yet. Everfrost going to come through, not going to catch anyone though. Fresh can get poked out quite low. It does force them back off, but they can just hop right back onto this Dragon. They can burn it down before they can even get back into this pit. Orianna actually going to be able to find it, but now St. Clair on Ocean Soul Point, and McMaster has a huge problem coming up in the next 5 minutes.
Yeah, great flip there from Fresh to just split up the team, and he's able to burn just enough time for the rest of his teammates to make it in there. They are able to grab that dragon, 3 dragons to their name, and it is going to be an Ocean Soul too. That is going to make this team unkillable. Yeah,
we see Viego picking up the Triforce. I don't know if I like it that much, I'm going to be honest. I just think he had, like, Asunder is much better because he needs some of that tankiness. Because other than the Renekton, you don't really have anyone else that's going to be building hard tanks. So I think, you know, it does help you in the damage department, but I definitely don't think it was optimal in this situation.
Yeah, I wonder if his thought process there is that, like, he's looking to get the attack speed from it. When he's not going for Bork first item, right? But
yeah, that's true.
I don't think it's very necessary, and I think the Divine Sunder definitely would have helped, especially when you're going against a Darius Jarvan like this.
Trapper gonna be forced off of this bot turret here. Jinx gonna be here as well, so TP gonna come through, but this is not a great TP. If they collapse, it might be problems. But no, they're not going to actually opt for it. It's Danny Boy going to be able to get the TP off and will stay alive. But they did chunk that turret down to half, as well as getting the TP out from the Renekton. So I don't know exactly what the TP time is going to be. But if that's not available when Dragon is up, it's going to be a real problem. Because you're going to have Hullbreaker on this Darius, so he can split push. And Renekton has to be at every single one of these drags to prevent the Ocean Soul. All going to come through, though. Not going to have time for a nice EQ. Going to catch 2 people there. But it's just trying to get Fresh out of here. Shaz not going to land the stun either. It will mean that Rise Out not going to be too effective.
Yeah, lots of chip damage coming out there from Barlow. He's able to just run away. McMaster is going to grab the first turret there in mid. But what are you trading it out for? You've got Ricky, just an absolute menace in the bot lane here. He is going to hopefully grab this second turret for himself. But Danny Boy going to head down there to try and stop him. But there is just not enough time there for him to rotate.
But yeah, you see now McMaster's in a huge problem, right? You have the Rise going towards bot lane. No TP on this Renekton, so he can't join the fight. Ricky does have it. That's going to mean they're going to have to opt into this fight, try and take him down, and allow this Rise to get over there. But Ricky not going to be taken down. But yet Flash Hook is going to come in here, trying to find Danny Boy. Going to get the stacks down. Flash forced out of Trapper as well. All going to come through. Ricky going to find the kill, staying alive here. Is healing up so much from those stacks. Going to have to be forced off. Q going to come through. Trapper will find it. Meanwhile, on the Baron Pit, there is a fight going on here. It's a 4v3. They are forced off of this one. All going to come through for Seraphine. Will charm up 3 members. Fresh staying alive, but no, he will be taken down. Transformation coming through here. EQ not going to find anyone, though. All going to come through. No, it's going to be canceled. Barlow going to find that kill before he can. Barlow with the red buff slow coming through. Swiftsuck forced to heal, trying to get the rest of his team out here. Sephiroth solo wants to stay in. Barlow going to land a couple of rockets here, but Swiftsuck going to be able to make it out towards this wave. That will mean across the board it is 2-2 in the kill department.
Yeah, a nice use of the Gale Force there from Barlow. He was able to dodge that initial engage from the Viego and just lay on the damage there later on into the fight.
Now both teams just gonna take a step back, farm up some waves, try and get towards those second items. But now we do see the first one on that second item is going to be the Starius picking up Stride Breaker here. And, you know, it was a pretty close 2v1 in the bot lane, actually. Did force out both flashes here from members of McMaster, as well as, you know, picking up a couple ultimate charges. But the important thing is, now, because there has been a little bit of, there wasn't a Baron taken there, TP is now going to be available in time for Danny Boy, as well as Trapper and Jaeger. So, 3 TPs available for McMaster before this next objective most likely will be going down, before St. Clair wants to opt into another fight. And it means that most likely 2 items coming through, it's going to be more and more difficult for Ricky to actually make those 2v1s possible.
Yeah, and I like Ricky grabbing the Stride Breaker here because as we saw in that fight in the bot lane there, even with Ghost available, he wasn't able to catch up to Trapper with that when he procced his Phase Rush there. So grabbing the Stride Breaker, adding that slow, giving himself a little bit of move speed as well, definitely going to help him in these 1v1 duels there to catch up to these very slippery champs. I mean, we've got so many champs here that get a lot of movement speed. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, Danny Boy just gets collapsed on. But McMaster looking to trade this into a Baron here. There is not many players here from St. Clair. They're rotating up. Can they damage it down in time?
The problem is, though, right, is they're going for this one. They're going to be chepped out. They're going to force it back up, but Dragon is up in 12 seconds. So if St. Clair walk down to this Dragon, they're all stuck on the top half of the map. They can't actually go up to it, but looks like they don't want to opt for it just yet. They're not going to go on that timer because there's no TP to Danny Boy. It's going to be up most likely around when he spawns, so he will have that available. But if St. Clair start it now, it's going to be really tough for the members of McMaster to actually get there. You see Jinx on it right now, already hitting it.
Yeah.
On the other side of it, Fresh going to come to your EQ. That I don't even know if they can get to this in time. Ricky and Faye's going to try and zone out this jungler. This is going to be TP coming through on the bot for Renekton in that tri-bush, but it's not going to be in time. Smite going to come through. They're going to claim Ocean Soul, and no contest coming out from the side of McMaster. And now they're all on the wrong side of the jungle. If St. Clair walk up to this Baron, there's no TP for Renekton. He can't get up here either. It might just be 2 free objectives for St. Clair.
Yeah, not to mention the Ocean Soul now coming up for this fight. That is going to give them a lot of sustain to this already monstrous Darius. While he may be 1 in 3, well, having the Hull Breaker and the Stride Breaker is just so helpful. He is going to be a pretty good frontline for this. Meanwhile, Pick trying to come out onto Jaeger, but Jaeger able to flash out of the ult there. And Fresh just going to back off. They are just going to keep pressuring this Baron, right? They know that Mac has vision on it, so they're just going to have to keep forcing them to rotate towards it.
See, now they are going to start it up, but they have Ocean Soul, right? So they're not losing too much HP through this Baron fight. They are staying pretty healthy, but looks like now the fight's going to happen. McMaster trying to stop this Baron. Don't want to let it. EQ going to come through on his Swiftsuck. Will be able to land it Fresh. Trying to stay alive here. All going to come through. Big Seraphine all going to catch 4 people as Shazi going to take one down. Ricky going to trade it back for Jaeger. Ricky going down here. No, he's going to hit the ultimate. Will find a kill there before he goes down, but that is 3 down now for St. Clair. It's just going to be Sephiroth and the Jinx all alone here. Sephiroth going to get collapsed on Shazi. Not going to be able to land the stun, but it's just going to be a little bit of time here. He's going to flash actually, try and find Sephiroth, but not going to be able to get the kill. It means that they won't be able to get this Baron now because Zephyr wasted so much time. It looks like they might go for it. Jinx the only one alive, but Fresh going to be up here in 10 seconds. So because he went down early in this fight, he can't get to this Baron before they're able to take it.
Yeah, he is going to be able to contest this. Barlow also still alive and fairly healthy, right? He's going to be full health. It was just unfortunate in that last fight. He was already positioned towards the top lane, and he just wasn't able to provide any of that damage for his team while Trapper was there just zoning him off the whole time.
Yeah, so it looks like they won't be able to take it. They realize Karma, Jarvan have spawned, and they don't take it very fast either because they have the Senna. So it isn't necessarily the fastest Baron take, but you know, still a relatively good fight for them. Despite the fact that they don't have Ocean Soul, and St. Clair does, they still end up winning that team fight pretty cleanly. And I think a lot of that has to be attributed to a huge Jaeger charm that caught 4 people for the side of St. Clair.
Yeah, that was huge. And even with Zephyros, like right at the exact same time we saw Zephyros' Shockwave come out, but it just wasn't enough.
Yeah, it wasn't enough to respond to it. And I think the other key too, Barlow staying alive in that fight hasn't opted to go for that Armor Shred, right? Typically you do see, you know, the Kraken and then the Armor Shred right after. We are going to see the Rapid Fire Cannon and Gale Force. And I really feel like when you go for this type of build, it gives you a lot more safety in the early game, but it kind of delays your spike because Jinx spike, you can have it at 2, I feel like, but I think 3, when you get that IE coming through, that is when your major damage starts becoming super available. And I think now, if you're St. Clair, yes, you have the Ocean Drag, you are very strong, but you look over that Fimbulwinter is now fully done for the side of Rise. He is getting for that Frozen Heart. When he hits that 3-item spike, it's going to be very, very hard to kill him. It's going to have to be up to the Orianna to start actually doing damage to that Rise, because she is the only one that has magic damage, being the Meanwhile top lane. Zephyros going to get flash rooted. Nice ult there. Is going to respond to it. We'll be able to escape the ultimate for the second, but it's not going to matter. We'll go down in a second anyway. And Shao-Z going to claim that kill, and now St. Clair going to be trying to chase him down. Actually, Fresh going to be here, trying to catch out Shao-Z. Going to transform back from Diego in just a second. Looking to dodge out for one. EQ going to land there onto him, but it's not going to matter. Barlow going to be forced to heal Flash out of that one. They will get the jungler, but at what cost? FaZe will be able to get the root down. Fresh going for the EQ. All going to come in as well. That's so much damage. Double kill down now for St. Clair, and that will be most likely a Baron here they can pick up.
McMaster, it looks like they are going to grab the middle or the inner turret here on the mid lane, which is going to help them offset this Baron as well. Ricky in the bot lane, he's just skirmishing it out with Danny Boy. There's not much Danny Boy can do. That Ocean Soul giving him so much health regen. Even with the burnt ult, I don't think Ricky is at a disadvantage in this fight.
Yeah, I think the problem now becomes Ricky's getting collapsed on by 2 people here. Hook is available for him. If he can find the E, is going to get it. We'll try and hit that Q. Not going to get it quite yet. Charm going to come through as well. Ricky can go for the Q, but not going to be able to catch anyone with it. Will flash out. And St. Clair in the meanwhile picked up Baron. So Ricky going to get out for free with just a flash, and they will get Baron as their prize.
Yeah, definitely. Overall, the macro there it ended up going St. Clair's way. While they did lose an inner turret there, they are going to burn a lot of stuff from the side of McMaster, as well as grab the Baron. So basically just for Zephyros in the end there.
Yeah, so gold, only about a 3K difference. Nothing too major for 30 minutes into the game. You see there a lot of gold discrepancy in the mid, actually. I'm kind of surprised, but I guess it is the fact that Rise has 6 assists, only has that 1 kill. So see an advantage there in both the mid and ADC role. I guess across all roles. It's about, you know, 1 to 2K. It isn't a major discrepancy anywhere, except for obviously the Senna over the Karma there, but it is to be expected. And, I mean, realistically, right now, I think St. Clair has the upper hand. They have 3 items now on Darius with the Force of Nature coming through. And at this Elder fight in just 42 seconds, I think this is definitely going to be interesting to see how this one turns out, because I think this is going to be, you know, the game-winning fight if St. Clair can take it. Yeah,
this will definitely decide the game, right? And it's really just going to come down to how well can McMaster engage this fight. Can they stop Fresh's engage? Can they stop that initial pick? We are seeing 4 flashes up, right? So Trapper is the only one without flash there, but he's gonna actually opt to ult in here, but who's gonna take it? No one. That is a little bit of a bait there. Fresh gonna engage onto Shao-Z. Danny Boy going in, but
that's a big charm.
Enough. Huge charm. Lots of CC coming out onto St. Clair, but the damage here is bigger. Meanwhile, the sustain coming out from McMaster is too much. Zephyros and FaZe forced to run out there. Fresh as well. It's really just the displacement coming out from McMaster Maroon. Yeah. They're so good at splitting up St. Clair in these fights.
I think this is going to be key now. The fact that Fresh was able to stay alive means he has a chance to try and might steal this away. But no, he's actually opting to not go for it. He's going towards mid lane. He just wants to take camps, and St. Clair not even going to try and steal this one away. It means Elder will go to the side of McMaster, and I think this is a problem, right? Like, yes, you do have Ocean Soul. You have all that extra healing, but Senna Seraphine at this point in the game with 3 items on Seraphine, it is so much healing and shielding. It is so hard to actually break through it, because you see at the side of St. Clair, the only person who has healing reduction is FaZe, right? So if FaZe isn't landing abilities, you don't have any kind of healing reduction, and I really think the fact that Orianna doesn't have it right now is going to make life really difficult for St. Clair.
Yeah, not to mention that Seraphine also going to have the Chemtech Putrefier, but it's much more potent on Seraphine because 1 W gives anti-heal to the entire team. Meanwhile, FaZe has to kind of pick and choose, right? He's going to have to pick, all right, if I'm shielding Barlow, he's going to be the one getting the anti-heal until my shield is back up again.
Definitely think a pretty even game so far right now. Goal discrepancy only about a K. We're at 31 minutes. It's meeting less and less, and it's very interesting to see. Now Orianna has completed the Rabadons, but will be very, very strong. And we see 3 item spike coming through for Jinx as well. So I think this next Baron fight in about 2.5 minutes is going to be very important, because you see this Elder, yes, it was nice for a couple members of the side of McMaster to get it, but I haven't really done much with it because those waves were properly shoved out by St. Clair. So they kind of mitigated a lot of the effect that normally an Elder has, and it means that most likely they might get 1 turret. They most likely clean up bot turrets here. Never mind, a fight going to come through. Swiftslug, a quick kill. That's going to be a second one as well. Elder shutting them down really fast. Orianna going to be taken down. Ricky under this turret, going to be ulted up, going to be stunned as well. He will just be getting 4-man taken down, and that might just be the end of the game. Actually, Jarvan trying to cut this wave here. Going to go for the engage here. Actually, he's winning this onto onto Shah Z here. Will get the kill. Going to flash away from the Jinx rocket as well. Going to keep himself alive for the moment as successfully cut the wave, and that might actually save the game for them.
Wait, am I missing something, or did he flash away from Barlow's ultimate?
Well, it was Viego. Oh, it was Barlow's.
No,
oh, it was
Viego.
Barlow's. Oh, my bad.
I was
my
like,
bad.
No, I also thought the same thing, and I was like, oh, Viego he's got the Jinx ultimate, and then I was like, wait, no, he killed Viego.
Yeah, so that will be the inhibitor.
Just a reaction flash there from Fresh, but it is what it is.
It will be inhibitor going down, but they won't be able to get it because there will be wave clear coming through here by Barlow. So game won't be over. Actually, no for an engage here. Elder's still up, and a couple members of McMaster. They have to be careful how they play this one out, but McMaster is going to force back. Sephiroth going for a big flash ult. Going to get Jäger with it, but not going to get anyone else. Swiftslug going to get him with the kill there. Jäger going to be forced to Zhonya's to stay alive. Looking for the EQ. Fresh not going to find out anyone except for Trapper. Fresh somehow still staying alive here. Has the GA as well. Flash going to try and find the hyper here. Barlow, W, Auto going to find him. That means the boost P-boost coming through here. He can keep it rolling if he can keep moving forward. Alt going to find Swiftslug, but not going to get anyone else. Clair going to push through. No Elder now. Alt going to find him, though. That will be Barlow trying to get something done here, but Zhonya's going to stop him for the moment. Ricky going to find Danny Boy. Ricky can walk through this whole team trying to find anyone he can. Alt going to come through. Double kill for Ricky, trying to find some more, but no, it will be forced off. But a huge double kill for St. Clair, and with Baron up in 37 seconds, I don't think they can contest this if you're the side of McMaster.
Yeah, that was a very big flip on the fight for St. Clair. They are not gonna opt to move mid. Actually, no. Barlow and FaZe are gonna back to try and stop this mid wave here. It actually looks like they're not gonna be going for the Baron. At least not immediately as it's up.
I'm kind of surprised too, because with Viego down for 20 as well as Danny Boy, I definitely think this would be the time to try and take it, but they are going to allow everyone else to take it. They kind of want to go for a reset. I'm surprised here, though, because I think if you're going to take Baron, this would be the time to do it, because there's 2 minutes left on the Elder, so you don't have to worry about that. It is really just taking this objective, but I think they're not going to opt to go for it immediately. We'll pick up blue buff for Orianna as well as the red buff for Barlow. So they are ready for a fight when it comes, but they aren't going to opt to go for it immediately.
Yeah, the 3-item power spike from Barlow is really big in this fight too, as well as Fresh having that GA. He's able to go in and engage with no fear in these fights now with that GA. And we saw there, he didn't have to burn the ultimate initially in the base. And once again, he's going to go in. A lot of movement speed coming out from the Karma. He is going to go in onto Swiftslug, and that is the first pick coming out. Barlow is going to find it, and they're going to move up towards this Baron. Viego, Shah Azi, he's in place to try and counter something, but he is going to group up with the rest of the team. They are going to find Ricky. Huge two-man hook there. But once again, another charm from Jäger, but there's not enough to follow up on it. Ricky, so much damage coming out, and that is going to be 3 kills for the side of St. Clair. They're able to just run it down mid here, grab an inner turret, possibly an inhib as well, and they've still got time to move up towards
They
this
might
Baron.
try and end the game here, actually. With 40 seconds on Seraphine and Renekton, there isn't a lot that they can do to try and contest this. Unless this Rise goes huge here, I don't know if they'll be able to actually stop what St. Clair wants to do, especially with Barlow on the Hyper right now. Nice, you can land on him, it's not going to matter. He's going to go in for the stun, but it doesn't matter. There's 4 members of St. Clair still alive here. With Ocean Soul, they can heal up as much as they want. Trapper trying to do what he can here, but not going to be able to do anything. St. Clair going to clean up this game in 35 minutes. Pretty messy one, to be fair, but definitely well fought by both teams. St. Clair coming out on top yet again.
Yeah, it's kind of the opposite of last game as well, where we saw clear like advantages in the early game, and then it was anyone's game going into the late game, right? Which was definitely exciting to see. A very exciting game there coming out. A lot of trading coming out, and honestly, these team fights were not going how I expected them to.
And I think, St. Clair just making those key moves. You saw a couple of times the fact that Ricky in the side lane was just so hard for McMaster to deal with. With that hull breaker, he was able to easily fight in the 1v1s against the Renekton, and then they had to bring the 1v2s, and as soon as they brought the 1v2s, St. Clair would take something else on the other side of the map. They took Baron, they take a Dragon. I think, a really good fight put up by the side of McMaster. A couple key team fights, especially around that Elder. Absolutely massive for them, but you saw there, unfortunately, Swift Slug caught out there, meant that you can't fight that Baron. That meant you have to try and make some desperate plays, and it really turned into the one kill just turned into a victory for St. Clair.
Yeah, and especially in that ending fight as well, Jaeger also getting caught out by the Darius hook right from Ricky. Jaeger's ultimates were one of the reasons that the fights were going McMaster's way from the 5-minute mark onward, right? And once that's out of the game, once his ultimate is burned and there's no follow-up for it, it leaves St. Clair with this 3-item Barlow who's just laying on the damage. He's able to grab Jaeger. They're able to push down mid and just end the game with just the amount of damage he can put down onto these turrets.
Yeah, really well played there by both teams, but in the end, St. Clair are going to come out victorious. A 2-0 series win, the first time they've 2-0'd against McMaster so far this year, and a really solid performance all around. I think first game, definitely a big jungle gap, if I'm going to be honest. I think the fact that he was down, there was like 20, you could see every couple minutes it was like 20 farm, 30 farm, 40 farm, 50 farm difference. I think this one they kept it really close. Shazi, a couple really key ganks in the early game made a huge difference in how it shaped up, but I think St. Clair, just the fact that they put on so much dragon pressure early because they got those 2 early ones. It's Ocean Drake, so every single time the dragon is up, you have to play towards it, and St. Clair able to manipulate that in their favor to get those dragons, force them to cross map, and it made it really difficult for McMaster to try and make those macro plays. But really well played by both teams. Very exciting series, and St. Clair going to come out on top 2-0.
Yeah, and that is going to leave St. Clair at 2-2 in the bracket here, moving into week 5, looking up in NECC after a rough first 2 weeks, to be honest. But in these past 2 weeks, we have seen them rebound a lot. They're rethinking their comps, which I like to see. And honestly, just well played.
Yeah, I definitely think so. But that is going to wrap us up for this broadcast. St. Clair going to go up 2-0. Before we go, I want to talk about a couple things. Firstly, our merch. I'm wearing our wonderful jacket on right now, and he is wearing our crew neck. So you can get yourself one of these pieces, or we got lots of other stuff. We got masks, flags, jerseys, crew necks, sweaters, scrim tees, if that's what you're into. You can go to acquire.ca/saints to pick those up. Look through a wonderful collection of stuff. And our giveaway winner just picked up his stuff. So definitely, I know he's looking forward to getting that stuff, and he got it today. So very happy with it. And now you can get yourself some of your own acquire.ca/saints.
And we cannot forget about one of our other sponsors, Crunchyroll, now available on Nintendo Switch, which is a big one. I know recently we also talked about last stream. I know Jobin had mentioned that they got the Funimation library now, which is big for Crunchyroll. A lot more shows on there, so go get your Premium.
It's premium.
Yeah, it is premium. Your free premium free trial at crunchyroll.com/saints. And we've got another exciting one to talk about today.
Yeah, so you might have seen this on Twitter a few weeks ago. We presented it, seen it throughout the stream, little highlights. But now we're going to talk about our academy. So next year, we have 50 new scholarship positions available. All esports titles are going to be supported, open to all skill levels. You can apply at St. Clair, saints.ca/join. And the exciting thing about this, it isn't just, we have a league team, now we're going to have a league academy team. There's lots of other stuff available too. So some stuff I've heard, Halo, we have iRacing, which you saw on stream the other day, Apex, a lot of other titles that maybe can't be supported at varsity level, can't be supported at the academy level. So definitely check out what we got. Make sure you get all your friends. Maybe we got a Roblox team or a Minecraft team. We can academy those. But stclairsaints.ca/join. Go check it out, and that's definitely exciting for next year because you know what that means. It means more broadcasts.
Yeah,
I can't wait for that.
the thing too is like if you're watching right now and you're like, right, I'm looking for to go to college next year, and you've got passion for a game, just apply. It's open to all skill levels. There's no downside to applying because you never know. Maybe you'll find yourself on a Saints Academy roster next year.
Yeah, but that is gonna be it for us. Oh, can't forget our other sponsors as well: Tim Hortons, Subway, the SRC, as well as St. Clair College Alumni Association and Zekelman School for Business. Thank you for supporting what we do. But yeah, that's about gonna wrap us up here. Tomorrow we'll be back at 1 o'clock, I believe.
Yeah, 1 o'clock with Valorant.
Ooh, that's going to be fun. Saturday Valorant. That's going to be interesting. I'll be here. I don't know who's casting with me. I think it's Jobin that's casting with me.
Yeah, I'm going to be on the observer side, so I will not be on the mic with you tomorrow.
But you'll be here. That's what's important, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's all.
But yeah, that's going to wrap us up for today. Thank you all for joining us, for coming and supporting us. We love you here. We love our viewers. Really appreciate you guys coming and shouting out all your favorite players. And yeah, shout out from me, John Billbangs Udima, Josh Funny but Funny. Thank you for being here, for joining us, and our production crew. Thank you for all you do, especially you guys back there. We love you very much. But yeah, that's going to be it. Thank you all. Have a good night. Love everybody. And see you tomorrow, 1 o'clock, right here, Saints Game ECA.